Little factoid running through your mind about Sirius is that it is the brightest star in the night sky. The Superstar page has a list of scientists that definitely should have the title of superstars. Some you might recognize from space explorations if you had that astronomy course. Others, just general scientists you may be familiar with, great biologists. And you may not know Amelia Halverson, a little bit younger, and that's probably because you don't know Amelia when she was a Ridgeline Riverhawk, and she was my TA, and I asked her to put together a list of scientists that we admired, and so I threw her on the list as well. What you're going to do with the Superstar page is, first of all, number 1. Which sign do you think will have the greatest number of scientists? On the preceding page in the notebook, you have the list of the zodiac signs and some dates often associated with these signs. So if you think that perhaps someone of a scientific background is someone who needs to be well balanced in analyzing data, coming to their conclusions, maybe the scales of Libra for justice. Maybe you think it's someone who should have a very focused line of research, so aiming in on the prize, maybe Nobel Prize. If you think someone that should be able to see kind of both sides of a situation makes a good scientist, I don't know. If you think one of these stands out in its attributes, like Taurus, a bull, you got to have very stubborn approach to your data, then maybe one of these you would list here as which sign do you think will have the greatest number of scientists. Once you've done that, then you'll actually look at their date of birth and see what particular sign they might be. For example, Amelia Halverson, 23rd of February is her date of birth. So if we look at the 23rd of February, April, May, June, July, August, September, hey, February! Ooh, 19th of February. So jump down here. 23rd of February, she'd be a Pisces, or Pisces. Another example of a Pisces is someone who's born on 28th of February. A date often attributed to Clark Kent, Superman, for a date of birth. In the comics, its storyline is 29th of February, leap year. Of course, DC Comics, Detective Comics, not going to make a lot of money on that, so they capitalize on celebration of his birthday, 28th of February, making him also a Pisces. And while we're mentioning it, your instructor's date of birth is also 28th of February. Look down the list. So we have Amelia's a Pisces, so I can put a little mark there for Pisces. And just keep on going down the list and just add tick marks as you go through. And then we'll take a look at that data, those results. So pause the video and go through this list of scientists and put a tally for each that fall into the category of the 12 zodiac signs there. Please pause the video. Hopefully you've completed all the tallies upon resuming the video. These dates here, how did it fall down for which scientists or in which group? Was there a standout? Well, if I graph the data here, percent of the superstar, so 0 to 100, with the zodiac signs, we find that there isn't a standout winner in the sense of just in your face more than any other. Like, for example, we do have Gemini here as the most, okay, the tallest, the highest count. But in terms of the question, what sign do you think will have the greatest number? Yeah, you could answer maybe it turns out to be Gemini. However, this is less than 20% of over 40 scientists that were listed. We really couldn't make a statement that, oh, I am born as a Leo, and because that is so much higher, more significant amount compared to the others, then my chances of being a scientist are much greater, or a super scientist, since we're all scientists. Again, what the data is showing here is, sure, Gemini has the highest count. However, there's no trend in the data. There's not one that's just clear off the charts, well, max at 100, that, oh my goodness, definitely if you're a Capricorn, your chances of becoming a stellar scientist are much higher than someone who is, say, Aquarius. Now, of course, you could look at that data and say, well, maybe it slants a little bit to Gemini's side because it was a list selected by myself. So if we take a list that was generated by many more people, this is a list of the first 44 presidents. And if we take this data and graph that similarly, sure, Scorpio has the absolute highest number, right there with Pisces, may even have been a tie, just barely over 10%. So we can't make any broad, brash statements that if I'm a Pisces or a Scorpio, I definitely have a greater chance than my running mate, who is maybe an Aries, as becoming a president. And again, we'd have to see something off the chart, as the expression is, really stand out before we could apply this data and say, ooh, yeah, if you're born a Leo, you should run for president. Your chances are greater. So your zodiac sign is not predictive of future occupations or characteristics. Now, just to put you at ease, I can't run for U.S. president, even though I fall in Pisces, which has no statistical significance of being a greater chance of becoming president. But I'm disqualified as I was not born on the U.S. soil. I was born a U.S. citizen and British citizen, just not on U.S. territory land. Speaking of president, here's a little game for you of Where's Waldo? And I'm not referring to the president. The president is here. Where's Waldo refers to find me among the masses. There's the president. There's me. There's the president. There's me. This is in the East Wing of the White House building a few years back. Now, with zodiac signs, they're not predictive in terms of likelihood to be president, a scientist, baker, lawyer. But let's look at this news headline and see if maybe that could apply. So, China job ads discriminate against Scorpio and Virgo. Essentially, those zodiac signs need not apply. This is from 2011, so the 21st century. And you may ask yourself, phew, that definitely wouldn't happen here in the United States, would it? Well, can't really know for certain, but I don't know of many jobs that you apply for where you don't list on the form your DOB, your date of birth, which then maybe you fall into the sign of Taurus and your employers, ooh, I definitely don't want someone who's very stubborn in this particular job, where stubbornness isn't a good quality to have. So can't really say that you're discriminated by because of your sign, but maybe someone who is into the astrological side of the zodiac might be partial to. Now, the word astrological, astrology. To finish off our superstar page, we have the terms astrology and astronomy here, and we're just going to give you working definitions, not necessarily ones you'd find dictionary, Wikipedia, just ones that suit our class. Now be mindful, you're taking your notes, I flipped them around on the slide here. So astrology is first in your notebook, followed by astronomy. And let's just get our working definition started here. So astronomy, the study of celestial bodies and their patterns. And then for astrology, remember this is the first one listed on your page, study of celestial bodies and their patterns. Yep, same thing as your astronomer and astrologer. They both start out with the same basic background, looking at what's out there in the universe. What are the patterns of these celestial bodies, stars, planets, galaxies? but their purpose is very different in why they're studying celestial bodies and their patterns. The purpose is where it's different. And again, the astronomy is at the bottom of your page. Astrology is listed first on your page. So astronomer, bottom of the page, does the study of celestial bodies and their patterns to understand how they form, move, and change by constructing models and explanations to carry out further investigations. Whereas astrology is the study of celestial bodies and their patterns for the purpose of predicting human behavior or characteristics of personality. Now, we certainly are not looking at this in terms of astronomy good, astrology bad. No. We're looking at astronomy and astrology in terms of a label, in that rounding off this superstars page, what is the scientific study of the heavens called? Well, that is astronomy. So astronomy gets the label of science, which many of you are taking this elective course for science credit. And so astronomy is what we'll be looking at. We'll be looking at the patterns of celestial bodies to see, how they move, form, change over time. Less about looking at the influence on human characteristics. When it comes time to do registration for the next school year, my colleagues like to ask, how many students have registered for astrology? And me being me, I'll say, well, none. My colleagues then gasp, saying, I thought lots of students took astrology. So, of course, I give them a bad time about it. So equally, they give me a bad time when they hear students saying, I'm headed off to Smith's astrology class, and they'll call me or harass me. So I always like to make sure you know which class you're in. You're in the scientific study of the heavens, astronomy, hence the big astronomy on the cover of your notebook to help remind you each day when you look at your notebook cover, you're in the class astronomy. Astronomy, and of course, astronomy is looking up. Superstar.